So right now I am in the conservation park in nearby Coffin Bay in Australia, and I am literally sitting inside a humongous bush of, perhaps you can guess which plant this is. It is none other than rosemary. And so this one here, this big bush of rosemary is actually more than 30 meters across, and it was planted more than 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, in around about 1850. And it really is a testament of, well, first of all, the resiliency of plants. Like this one here is rosemary is the type of plant that does stand the test of time, and you can see what it can become when it is given the time and the conditions to grow and flourish, really. And that is something that I wanted to talk to you about today, just inspired by this lovely rosemary bush growing just a little bit off of the coast, the Bay of Coffin Bay. And so this plant here was, like I said, it was planted back in 1850 and has been growing over this time. And because rosemary is the type of plant that continues to grow out sideways when it sprouts roots, and it keeps on growing from that initial growth. And if you look closely at this plant down here as well, you can see there are some parts of the plant that are older and have become a lot more woody. But even when there are these parts, there are the new growth that come in and cover up this as well, and create the whole bush. It's that cycle of life that happens there. But I think it is pretty inspiring thinking about what can happen over time when you give a plant or an idea the time and space and conditions that it needs to grow. Because sometimes great things don't happen overnight. Sometimes they need time to really become something beautiful, something spectacular. And a humongous bush of rosemary is something that is pretty cool to see. It's nice that I can sit literally inside it, and in a part that at the moment doesn't have so much growth, but it will come back as the bushes around it make the most of that. And there are so many different messages that can come out of this. So there are two things that I really wanted to point out today in this. And the first one is about this dead, not the old growth, okay? So here we have the sticks that I showed you just now, but the rosemary bushes around this are all going to be like this one here, for example, is coming down on the side. This bush here is resting on the ground, and you can see this bush right here is like stuck into the ground because there are little roots coming out of the branch that are going to be forming a new bush right here, and that will be the beginning of the growth that fills this space. And this is a nice way of thinking about the herbal community as a whole. So we have, herbalists all over the world doing great things and truly having an impact on the community around them. But as life goes on, we have differing responsibilities and the circle of life as well. It's really a point of being able to come together as a community and share our skills is really, really important, because there are the new bushes that come through and take that place, but use the same ground, the same soil that an older rosemary bush earlier was in, and using that. And you can see how that is really important for continuing on the traditions inside the herbal community. This is so important, because as herbalists, we need to be continuing on the knowledge and being able to continue to serve our community. And the best way of doing that is honoring our elders, learning from those people who have been there before us, taking and really expanding on that knowledge and being able to continue that on for generations to come. And we as herbalists are like the rosemary bush, that there is the older growth, but coming together. You can see there's like a whole community of rosemary all around me that's around this little spot. So there's rosemary over there as well, but all of the bushes around here are going to come in and take that spot, but not in a for itself kind of way, because once that bush comes there, it becomes whole with the rest of this really big rosemary bush, which is kind of a beautiful thing to be a part of. So that is the first thing, that really being part of the community, it's that growth and coming together, which is just a beautiful thing to be a part of. And the second thing is just really the impact of slow growth and what it has, because often people want to grow something overnight and do something really quickly, but often it's giving the time, space and conditions to what you want to grow really allows it to flourish in a natural way. And you can see how happy the rosemary bush is here. There is also a couple of other things growing in here, so parts of it might not be completely happy, but overall the rosemary bush is the dominant part of this area, and it's clearly been given the time and the space and the conditions that it needs to grow and become something really common and big here, which is really nice. And it's not unique to this space either. I have seen big rosemary bushes like this as well in other areas of the world. I remember in Sardinia, in Italy, there was really big areas like this as well. And you can see how when it is given that time and just what it needs to grow, it can. And if you have an idea and are willing to give it the time and the space, the energy, the conditions that it needs to grow, it really can become something beautiful. And it's often helpful to remember that it does take time, and giving it that time to grow in the way it's supposed to is kind of the best thing that you can do as an herbalist. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed those two little tidbits of inspiration that I got out of seeing this rosemary bush today, and I wish you all the best on your herbal journey going forward, and have a wonderful day.